Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Roar and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to episode 187. 187, how did that happen? Hi, Josh Roar, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, you're back finally. I feel like it's been quite a while.
Yeah, it's been. I've been out of the country more than I've been in the country, I think. So,
I mean, that's kind of cool.
I'm back. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Had good times.
Good times.
Are you hearing my ping every time that happens?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, good.
Just the noises in your head, Laura.
Yeah, I have voices in my head. It's normal. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
So, I talked about the crowdsourcing the rack height stuff.
And I still never got that to you.
No, you definitely never did. However, yeah, I did release version 1.0 because I did have some people that actually submitted stuff. And basically what I decided to do, because there were so many inconsistent measurements, I only included the racks that had multiple people submit measurements that actually matched each other.
Right.
So there were some that were like drastically different. So I was definitely not going to put that on.
Yeah, no.
I'm not putting my name on that and using that information. So
no, you got to be careful what you put your name to.
Yeah, right.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, so basically the racks that we used are we used the ER rack, the Ghost rack, the TSS, and the Eleiko. So I'm still waiting on measurements for the Sam Hell barbell rack from somebody. I did have one person submit them, but the problem was, so the increments like made sense. So like hole 1 to hole 2 was like 1.5 centimeters. Hole 2 to 5 was like whatever it is, 6 centimeters or 7, whatever. But then the next one's up didn't follow the same sequence. So I'm assuming there's a mistake there. So I did not publish that one. So if you end up measuring the same mistake, then I guess it's accurate. It just doesn't make sense. Basically, that would mean that the whole spacing would get smaller the higher it goes instead of being consistent. And I'm sure that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think so. They're pretty even.
Yeah, they're pretty even. That's why I didn't post that one, because the measurements didn't add up. And I spent way too much time on this, way more than I should have. But
rabbit hole.
I think it's very helpful. So like you can find it if you go to the Team Roar Instagram. That's the only place I have it right now. But there's a slide for squat height. There's a slide for the bench setting, and then there's a slide for the safety setting. So you can measure your own at home and then follow the chart to figure out what pin setting for each rack. Or you can, if you know you're setting on one rack, you just follow it across and compare it to the other rack. So I think it's pretty helpful if people, at least even at the bare minimum, just use it as a baseline to start getting their rack heights at the meet. It would save a lot of time, because you can basically just confirm that those are right versus like, I don't know what the hell it is. I'm just going to start from scratch and see.
Totally guess.
See what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. That's a nice service.
Thank you for contributing.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was sarcasm.
Later. Okay. Yeah. I know. I'm horrible. So there's a new weight class for women. I'm excited about this.
We talked about it last week. We being me. So I'm actually just mentioning it just to make sure you're aware. That way when it comes up in the future, like three months down the road, you're like, wait, there's a new weight class.
I saw this.
Oh, so you're
online.
You're hip.
I'm hip. I'm in the know.
I just know you don't listen to our podcast, so you wouldn't get the information that way.
That is true. Sorry. I just don't like hearing my own voice ever. And then when it's, I should listen to the ones you do.
You don't like listening to my voice either, right? So you've heard that enough.
No, too much.
Yeah. Anyway, so just to recap, in case somebody didn't listen to the previous episodes, the January 1, the female 67.5 kilo class is going away, and it's being replaced by the 65 kilo class and the 70 kilo class. So I think it's a great change, actually.
I do too.
It's a good, it makes the percentage jump much smaller, like, and consistent. And it's also like the most populated weight class, so it more evenly distributes
Mm,
the talent.
yep. And I like it because, I walk around kind of more. 63 is just hard to hit sometimes, and that cut down at the
Yeah.
last minute, it was rough. So, not
Yeah.
saying I'm ever going to compete again, but
But not saying you're not ever going to compete again.
hey, you never say never. Never say never. Who knows?
That's right.
Yeah.
So you literally missed the entire tournament of karaoke songs, which is
But did
fine.
I win?
You did not win.
I didn't expect to.
I expected to win and I did not. But I don't know if you've been following it on social media or not because I haven't talked to you, but I posted each week the tournament, like the results, and once somebody lost, I revealed their name.
Hmm.
So we were down to the final two lists, which happened this past weekend. It was the gray list versus the green list. And the results, the champion of the 2024 top five karaoke song tournament is the green list, which
Woo!
was Jim Battenfield.
Hmm.
And
Nice.
the first loser, the gray list, was yours truly. I was so close.
Oh,
The final votes was 8-6. I lost by 2 votes.
man.
Yeah. And if it's any consolation, your loss was to Jim Battenfield as well in the semifinals. So
Oh, I'll
you
see. I'm
lost to
so
the
much better.
eventual champion.
Okay.
Although I lost much closer than you did. I just want to point that out. You lost 14-3. I lost 8-6.
Oh, yeah, 14 to
So
3. Well, mine was a personal list. Like I didn't expect anyone else to be
well
like,
there
yeah, that's really, I mean,
they were all supposed to be personal lists, but I wonder sometimes if some of them were just like, oh, this is click that people will vote for this.
right.
I
We'll
don't know.
never know. But
But
congratulations to Jim.
yep. So Jim, you're gonna get a Richardson hat from Executive Arbor Tree Care, right?
Yes. And now I'm like, how am I going to get this?
Well, so and then a drawstring bag from Team Roar and a some jewelry from Ann Peden. So Ann is shipping the jewelry to me, and then I'll mail it out with the bag. So I think just to save headache, we can
Hmm.
just mail it straight to Jim and whatever.
Oh, I actually am going to be in your area on Saturday. I could drop it off to you.
Oh, well, that works too.
So
Okay,
there you
we'll do that. Cool. So Jim, that stuff will be coming your way. Congrats.
go. Wow, that was a nice way to say that. So can we move on to the to the tea?
Sure, whatever you want to talk about, Laura. Since you're back, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the IPF slide.
Yeah,
I saw this on social media last night. Mike, I never get his last name right. Headlins, you know what I'm saying? Hamburger trained.
Headlesky.
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 That's it. Right. Sorry for butchering your name. I saw a post about it, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" And then I, and then I found it and saw it in the comments for his post, and it was just like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah.
So yeah, when your name is associated with it,
So hold on, I have the slide. I want to read the bullet
yes,
points
you need to read the
because
bullet points.
I assume most people know about it by now, but if not, I just want you to hear the
Yeah, the T.
yeah. And this is almost verbatim my coaching strategy when I was coaching you. So
Might be true, but would you put your name on it?
no. So
No.
all right, so the bullet points, and this is verbatim from the slide. How should a coach treat a female athlete? And the 4 bullet points. Number 1, be careful with her emotions. Number 2, give her special motivation. Number 3, mostly females have very high level of responsibility, so don't tell her the accurate plan waits for the training. And which is basically, lie to her. And then number 4, win her trust. Like
Okay.
lie to her,
So
then win her trust. All right, go
yeah.
ahead. The floor,
Right,
the
right.
floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Okay, all right. So my problems with this slide is how to treat a female athlete. because we're all exactly the same. So yes, I think emotions play into any athlete, and you should know what yeah, I mean, basically when you're handling someone, you should tailor your approach to that person and what they like. Whether or not they're female or not has nothing to do with it. I have seen men athletes that you really need to handle their, you're an athlete that needs your emotions handled, or just kind of carefully eggshell walk around as a lifter. Like, to say that it's a female thing, no. Of course, you want to gain their trust. That's everybody. Some people don't like to know their weights on the bar. I don't think that's exclusive to females either.
No.
I didn't like to know the weight on the bar. I wanted to know my openers, and then after that, I trusted you to pick the right thing. I didn't want to know. Didn't want to know.
I never wanted to even know openers. Like I didn't know any of it when I was
Yeah.
lifting.
So apparently you're a female, Josh. I'm
Apparently,
sorry to tell you.
based on this.
Yeah. So there's just so many things wrong with the slide to say that it's close to female, and to say that, oh, hey, this was taken out of their apology was so shitty. I mean, I think you should also read their apology. There was a couple sentences in there that was like, well, this was taken out of context and it was somebody's personal experience. Well, sure, if it's someone's personal experience, maybe you want to share those things, but you don't want to put it on a slide that people can take a picture of with the IPF logo on it. And if this is your personal experience, great. But, and I think that there were also some translation problems with that slide. Like, they have the greatest responsibility isn't something that anyone American or English speaking would. What the hell is the greatest responsibility?
Do you want me to read
There's
it?
just,
I have it pulled up.
yes, the
Okay. So the statement from the IPF. Initially, the IPF would like to offer its apologies to its members and especially its female members who might have been impacted by a slide taken from an IPF trainer course, which has been widely shared on social media. It is important to note that the slide is being misconstrued and does not reflect the IPF's viewpoint on coaching female athletes. The slide has been taken out of context of the lecture and is only conveying the personal experience of one of the lecturers. The content of the slide is not the guidance used to teach coaches how to coach a female athlete. It is just an example of a personal experience that one of the instructors had as a lifter and coach during their powerlifting journey. We acknowledge that if one sees the screenshot without any context, it may be interpreted as being sexist. However, when you consider it in conjunction with the related slides, the context changes because it references a personal story. We reiterate our apologies to our female members and membership as a whole. The intention was never to belittle our female lifters, but simply to share a personal experience. The IPF Executive Committee.
Yeah. So the only thing I want to say is there is no context that makes this slide okay.
Right.
I can't even imagine what that context might have been, but there is no context that would make this okay. And
Well, and
no way should they have IPF logo near that slide.
here's the thing that somebody mentioned to me the other day, though, that I didn't even think about is I also, so I am an instructor for the USA Powerlifting coaching course, and there are personal anecdotes that I mention here and there if it is relevant during the discussion, but I don't have a slide for it. Like
Right,
that,
exactly.
like there, you don't make that slide unless it's part of the expected to know curriculum. And this is not even like I don't even understand when you read these bullet points back. Like, I'm going to read them again. So think about it in context of a personal anecdote. It still doesn't make
Mm,
sense. It's not worded
no,
that way.
no,
So be careful with her emotions. Give her special motivation. Mostly females have very high level of responsibility, so don't tell her the accurate plan weights for the training and win her trust. Like those are bullet points of what to do. It's not framed in the sense of this was my experience. I needed my coach to,
right.
be careful with my emotion. Like that's not how it's worded. So
I agree. This is like a to-do list.
yeah, this is a to-do list. So that's been oddly not like seeing this come out has been unfortunately not a surprise to me,
Yeah,
just based on people I know in that organization, but it's still sad. Like it's sad that my perception of people was just
So,
validated, I guess.
yeah, right. So my question for you, because you do the USAPL course, coaching course, right?
Right.
You have a deck, and if you that's approved, they've looked at it. This is the official deck. If you added a slide in there, would that's just like anecdotal, is that okay? Like if you have an official deck and you're teaching and you're a certified coach for this, why would you ever be adding a slide? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a little bit of wiggle room there. So like if I put a slide about my bio, like who I am, like
right,
where I'm from, like that's one little
sure,
deviation that is pretty much okay. But like this is outside of that scope, in my opinion. And I would never, like, obviously, I would never say these things, but like, even if I were to have my personal philosophy on how I coach, you know, masters lifters or, you know, people with injuries or whatever, if I have certain, you know, things that I do, that's what I do. That's not something that USA Powerlifting
right,
is saying is how you do it. So like I might mention that
right,
if it's in conversation, you know, just as a different way to think about it, but I would absolutely not put that on a slide
right.
ever.
Because this slide does definitely insinuate this is what the IPF recommends.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
So sorry, IPF. Sorry for your shitty apology. And they kind of say, hey, you misconstrued this. So they're
We're,
blaming the person who's upset about this for being upset about this. It's not their mistake. So that's a shitty apology. It's
and,
no.
and it also said something about um because it's being shared on social media. So like we're sorry it got out on social media also because
Yeah,
this
right.
wouldn't be an issue if people didn't know
Right.
about it.
Yeah,
Um,
right. And
yeah.
just really like women's sports take enough. We have a hard enough time. Like, we always get well, and this is historically just, things that have happened in the past, like our events are not as well, I don't know. It feels like in the past they have not been as well marketed, as well attended. Just there's been, nobody cares about women's sports sometimes. And I'm not saying that that's okay, obviously, because,
Well, I'm not.
but
I guess I don't
I,
even want to say that that's true, but I think there's. I
well,
mean, there's that perception sometimes. I think.
yeah, well, and I'm not saying it's a thing that is always ongoing still, but it's a thing. It's a thing. And it's a perception too that, women aren't even supposed to be doing this. Like there's still a lot of societal stuff around this in women's sports. And then we have the added thing of like, okay, women's sports are now valid, but now we have to worry about, how that's being invaded by men, which is another thing. So it's just another fucking thing that pisses me off. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
There you go, getting emotional again as a female.
Yeah,
Sorry,
right.
I'm sorry. I had to say it though.
Oh shit. I have not seen a more emotional lifter than Josh Rohr.
Yeah,
Let me just say.
I'm a nutbag.
Oh my gosh, you're a nutbag. It's
Yeah,
like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So much. So much. I handled you, I think, once, and I think I called your numbers once, and I was literally scared of you the entire time.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, okay. So
All
we'll
right.
move on. IPF fail.
Yep. So on a positive here, the USA Powerlifting coaching course. There's what are you laughing at?
Oh, because that's just so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better transition.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
but
Okay.
we just scheduled the next club course on December 7th. So if anybody's interested in getting their level one club coach certification from USA Powerlifting, not any affiliation with the IPF, I want to be clear, then you can sign up for that. You can find the link at coaching.usapowerlifting.com.
And you won't have a slide in there about how to treat female athletes?
No, like, and my first thought was like, in mentioning it right now is like, I'm sure that's going to come up. Like somebody's going to ask that question. Like, so how do you coach female athletes? Just because people like to stir the pot, and I'm not even sure I'm going to acknowledge that question. Just like,
Yeah,
um,
just like any other athletes.
yeah, right. Completely
Mm.
individual.
Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah, it'll be good. But we do. I mean, I guess talking about, so like we do spend a good amount of time like on how to teach technique, basic intro to programming, like how to structure it, things to look for. And we also talk about and legit talk about like the importance of communication and like how everybody is different. So, what works as a communication style or even a programming style for one person doesn't necessarily work for another, and just kind of how to navigate that and
Mhm.
figure out what does work. But if it was as easy as if male do this, if female do that, yeah, that would be. It does not. It doesn't work that
Yeah,
way.
no. I
So
mean, I've seen people that you if you raise your voice at all to them, they don't like that. But then there's some people that, want to be screamed at to get them motivated. Like you have to know how that person is motivated and
yep,
treat them that way.
yep,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So you're not going to have a slide in there about how to coach men lifters?
No, I'm maybe I'll. No, I'm trying to make a joke. I got nothing. It's not funny. I gotta
Oh,
just, we gotta move on.
I'm sorry. I'm just mad about this.
At the same time, I'm just like, I it actually makes me sad because I like when I saw it, like I laughed to myself, and it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's actually sad.
Yep.
So,
I'll
well,
move on.
yeah, yeah, reluctantly we move on. I'm sure it'll I'm sure it'll be a topic for the next couple years that we just sprinkle in here and there.
Yes. Yes, we should
But
revisit often.
yeah.
Oh,
All right. So I just saw this pop up on the calendar, the USA Powerlifting calendar. The Georgia State meet, February 7th through 9th. It's already been on the calendar, but what just popped up was prime time. It's actually listed on the sanction or on the USA Powerlifting calendar separately. It is that weekend, date, as far as I know, to be determined. So I don't know any details. I actually texted Kathy Mealy. I'm like, hey, can I, what can I say about it? And basically, it was secret, details coming soon. So
mm.
it's intriguing. I'm excited about that. I wish I knew the details before everybody else, but I don't. So yeah, so that's happening. I just don't know
Oh,
anything about it yet, or how it's going to be done, or who's going to
yeah.
be invited, if it's going to be an invite. I don't know.
Right.
But
Huh. Interesting.
yeah, and I think one thing we didn't mention when we announced the meet initially was it's at the Gas South Convention Center, which is the formerly named Gwinnett Arena, which is like where
Ah.
there's like legit concerts and sporting
Yeah,
events.
that's a big
It's
arena.
like a huge venue, so
Yeah. Very cool.
it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I just want to mention that. Like I literally, I found it about 30 minutes before we started recording because I always just kind of peep the calendar real quick to see what's going on, and that was there. So that's as far as I know, breaking news that they're having a primetime session at the Georgia State meet, but
Right.
the details are not released yet. So hopefully soon because I want to know.
Right. Hmm. Well, maybe we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, we'll talk about it either way. Just might not have any further information to add.
Yeah. We'll just revisit the slide thing too. I mean,
Yeah, might as well. So
mm,
I don't know, it seems like 2 months ago we started talking about pet peeves, driving pet peeves, and you told me to hold off on the other ones because you had a story about one. So 2 months later, here we are.
I know, right?
What is
Boy,
what is your driving pet peeve?
my driving pet peeve. All right. So, have you been to Buc-ee's?
I have.
Yeah. So, Buc-ee's is a fine institution, and the one that's down in Macon is like sometimes it's like attending a Pearl Jam concert down there. It's a little busier than um, you might expect, but it's pretty busy. So there are a lot of people from Texas who have been through Texas. That's where Buc-ee's is from. That now that Buc-ee's is there, they're like, woohoo, yay, Buc-ee's is here in Georgia now, and people go to Buc-ee's and it's packed out. Busier than Texas, but there you go. So anytime I go through Macon, I stop at Buc-ee's because I want one of the good sandwiches. I want some fudge, some of the you know, all the cool snacks they have. And I love their store. It's just a cool thing. It's a fine institution. But the thing that gets me is it's a
Sorry,
fine institution.
Buc-ee's. But that should be their new slogan. Buc-ee's. It's a
It's a
fine
fine institution.
institution.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I can't get past that. Give me a second. Okay, I'm ready.
and I love their, their kind of funny billboards and their mascot. I like their Buc-ee's wear. It's just fun, right? So I go to Buc-ee's. I like Buc-ee's. Go to Buc-ee's and you go to get gas. And we're like pulling up to the gas pumps and there's all of the gas pumps are taken. So we parked and we were just eating our sandwich. We were wait for a gas pump to open, and we're sitting there and we're facing the pumps, and then we realize that there's no one actually at the cars that are sitting in the pumps. They're actually just maybe they got gas and now they're in the store shopping. Like for 20 minutes, we ate our whole sandwich and there was still no movement on the tanks. And you know how Buc-ee's is? It has like they're stacked out with all those islands that you can get gas at.
Yeah.
There was like one that was actually getting gas. And that just pissed me off. I'm like, that is just an unspoken rule. Like, if you're not gassing up, you go park. And I understand the parking's a little tight, but there is parking. So don't be a pussy and go park your car. Yeah.
I feel like we should all start carrying around like yellow flags, like penalty flags, like the NFL has, so we can like throw them at the car, and it says like unsportsmanlike conduct on it or something like that. So when they
Yeah.
come out, there's a
Fail.
yellow flag. Yeah, so that's actually very similar to my one of my pet peeves. It's kind of interrelated. So since I put this topic on there, I had another experience that reinforces this belief of mine. So cars using the diesel pumps. So most non-Buc-ee's stations like QT and things like that, they have a whole bunch of pumps, but only the far end ones are have gas and diesel. So if you drive a diesel, you can only fill up on the very far ends. There's no other spots. So my pet peeve before 2 days ago was the place is wide open. Nobody's there except for cars are parked on the end getting gas because it's convenient. But then I'm waiting in line with all the other gas pumps open because the cars are using the pumps that also have diesel, which they're entitled to, but it's still just like a frustration because I can't
Mm,
use the other ones, but you can. Like go use those. It's just irritating. So like I sit in line at an empty gas station to get diesel because they're using them. But I was at QT 2 days ago and it was packed. There was all the pumps were basically full except for like two of the gas pumps in the middle. So I wait in line behind this car who's clearly using gas, and I think that's a little bit different. If it's already full, you use whatever. But just as a courtesy, if you're gas only, if you're getting gas, and the entire gas station is empty, go to the ones that only have gas instead of blocking the diesel ones. But I digress. So the I pull up behind this car and the lady is in the car, so I'm assuming she's about to get out, but she doesn't. She's on the phone, and I see her holding the phone, and she's just sitting there. And literally, it was about 3 minutes. So she's on the phone, and then she finally gets out and pumps gas, and then puts it back in. And the whole time, she keeps like giving me a look, like, "Why are you rushing me?" Like, just giving me like a kind of a not a
mm,
nasty look, but you could tell she's just like irritated by my presence of being parked behind her when at this point other spots were opening up, but none of the diesel spots were opening up.
right.
So I'm just sitting there, and then finally she puts the pump back on, and then decides to clean out her car. So she starts emptying her cup holders, like throwing trash away, and not doing one trip, like multiple trips back and forth. and then finally gets in her car and sits there for, I don't know, not super long. It was probably 15 or 20 seconds before she then puts her seatbelt on, starts it, and then drives away. But it's just like, that's just, I don't know. Stuff like
Yeah.
that just burns me. I don't know why.
And she probably had no clue still why you were just sitting there.
Yeah, probably not. So in all fairness, like I don't think people think about that because
No, they don't.
most people don't drive diesel or never have driven diesel. So like gas is all they know. That wouldn't be at the forefront of my thoughts either without somebody saying it. So that's
Right.
why I'm saying it now to everybody that's listening.
Both of our listeners, hey, if you're you're getting gas, yeah,
Leave the
there you
diesel
go.
pumps alone.
So have you ever noticed at BP, the thing that's weird about diesel?
The colors are different.
Right. Like, what? Why
And
would
I'm
you do
color
that?
yeah.
And
So
you're
yeah.
colorblind. Oh,
Yeah, at BP the color of diesel is the color of gas everywhere else.
yeah, right. So that special, what's it, green? That's the color for diesel
Yeah,
everywhere.
I think it's green.
Yeah. Oh, you think it's green. That's right. You don't know.
It
Um,
looks green to me.
so if you're not a diesel driver, like if you go to any gas station in the world, the pump's always green. The handle thing that you put in is green. So you can go, oh, this is diesel, and I'm going to put it in. Well, if you go to BP, it's the opposite. It's black, and all the other ones are green just because that's their logo colors, right? I once knew someone who wasn't paying attention because he was on the phone. He was arguing with someone, and he was just at BP, grabbed the green one, put it in, filled up his gas tank, and then got off the phone and then realized, oh my gosh, I've just filled up my diesel truck fuel with gas. Luckily, he noticed it right then. Called up Dan. Dan went over and they removed the gas pump. I'm sorry, they removed the gas tank from the truck and then siphoned it out, cleaned it out, washed it out, and then reattached the gas pump at the BP station. So, no, it wasn't Dan, but Dan was involved in saving the
Yeah,
situation.
I
So,
assumed it was not Dan, but the way you were telling the story, I'm like, is she talking about Dan without saying his name?
nope.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
then
no,
I,
sorry.
then I, s- I still have zero things to make fun of him about. So one day,
Nice. Yes. All right. You want to hit the powerlifting situation and get out of here?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. So here you are. You're coaching at nationals. Your lifter gets a 2-1 no lift blue card on their opening squat. The lift looked easy, and there was no downward motion, double bouncing, or unlocked knees, in your opinion. You want to protest the lift to the jury, but you also want to go up for their second attempt. Timing's crucial. You don't have much time. What do you do?
This was posted on Instagram on our Team Roar Instagram, and a lot of the comments were, well, some of them were funny. Basically, just like flip the table, cuss at the refs. Obviously not being serious,
Don't
but
do that.
some of the answers were, it doesn't really matter if you're going to go up anyway. Openers don't matter. Don't waste your time protesting. I disagree with that because yeah, openers don't matter until you miss your second and third and bomb out, right? And if
Right.
it's if and obviously don't protest it just to protest it, but if you legit believe it was a good lift, then absolutely you go protest it and you advocate for your lifter. That's your job as a coach. So,
Mhm.
you don't go do it just for shits and giggles. Like if you truly believe it was a good lift, like absolutely you go. But the issue is the timing of everything because when you complete your lift, you have 60 seconds to turn in your next attempt. And if you don't get there in 60 seconds, then if it's a no lift, they would repeat. If it was a good lift, they go up 2.5 kilos automatically. Well, the wording of this implies we plan to go up significantly after your opener, which I don't necessarily recommend to begin with, but if this is the plan of the coach, how you would navigate this, because this actually came up at Raw Nationals when I was working the score table. This happened, and somebody went to the jury and didn't come to the score table within the 60 seconds. We went up. I'm sorry, we stayed the same because it was a repeat, and they got really pissed off because they wanted to go up. They're like, "Well, how am I supposed to be at the score table if I have to go to the jury?" Well, so here's how you do it. So you both have to be immediate, right? The wording in the rule book is it's recommended that you get to the jury table before the next lifter is called to the bar. So that's pretty darn quick. So what you do, and this is again, I'm not going to make a slide on this because this is how I do it, right? There's the reference. I always keep, like everybody I'm coaching at any level, I keep a scorecard with their name and my signature and all the information that I need in my pocket. I don't use it unless it's one of these situations. If it's a normal situation, I go to the score table, fill a new one out, whatever. But in this case, I know I want to go up, so I can pull it out, write it down real quick, either take it to the score table myself because it's already done and super quick, or I can hand it to the lifter as they're coming off and say, give this to the score table. Somebody also suggested on Instagram that, just tell your athlete what to turn in. And if that's not something that's been practiced or communicated that may happen, we've had it happen to us before where we verbally say a number and they hear a different number or they write a different number and then the whole day is screwed up. So I'm I'm writing everything out myself, make sure it's legible, and just handing it to them if I'm not able to get to the table really quick. But I'm not dilly-dallying. Like literally, like I'm sprinting. If I'm doing it myself, I'm writing it, sprinting to the table, dropping it down, saying the lifter's name, make sure they acknowledge it, and then sprinting to the jury table right away. Because if you go to the jury table first, there's no chance of getting to the table in 60 seconds. So if your goal is to repeat anyway, then it doesn't matter. Just go to the jury table. But if your plan is to go up, you have to do that right away first and then go to the jury table. Now, the other aspect of that is if the jury does in fact overturn the lift, then you'll get a new 60 seconds to turn in your next number. Because, like, as an example, let's say I opened at 100 kilos and we missed, so I go to 105. But if we had made it, I would have gone to 110. So, I turn in the 105 right away, then go directly to the jury table. And then if they decide to overturn it, then I have 60 seconds to turn in what I actually would want to do if it was good. And then in which case I could then go 110. So, but I can't do that if I don't have that scorecard ready or that attempt slip ready to go because I have to run over to the table, write the lifter's name, figure out what weight I want, sign it. And the other thing I do, you know, sometimes as I'm walking out to the platform, you'll see me like, looks like I'm playing on my phone, and then I'll put it in my pocket because you can't film from the coach box. But what I'm actually doing is looking at our game plan for the day. So like what my attempts were planned, so that they're fresh in my head, so that I don't need to reference my phone when they come off, or if that situation happens, I know the numbers in my head already. So it's just quickly can get it done and go to the table.
Yep. So be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yep. Boy Scout
Yep.
motto. And yeah, and I agree. You still protest it. I mean, because
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? If it's
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I only protest stuff if I really believe it was a good lift. Like I don't do it just because it was two red lights and one white. Like it has to, like there's some that are 2-1 red, and I'm just like, man, that definitely wasn't good. Like that
yeah.
could have been three reds. If there's no chance of it being overturned, then it's not. It's
And
not worth protesting.
refresh
Just
my memory. What's a blue card?
so blue card is on a squat is downward motion or double bouncing
Mm,
or knees not being locked out either at the beginning or
mm,
the end of the lift.
right. Okay.
So it's one of those that, the lift was easy. They could have called in this case, my hunch is they had to have called knees not being locked because if it was easy, there's likely no downward motion. But again, I'm looking for those things. And if as a coach, I didn't see that, then,
Mm.
it's, yeah. And sometimes referees throw the wrong light, but, you know, in this situation, like there's nothing about the lift looked wrong.
Well, and at nationals, I would hope they wouldn't throw the wrong light, but
Yeah,
it
and
happens.
right, they shouldn't, but I've seen it happen. Like
Mm.
actually, I'm not gonna say who it was, but it may have been the referee that won the top five karaoke song list at nationals.
Mm.
There was a timeout, and when the clock hit zero, the referees still have to hit the light. And I was one side ref, and this other side ref, who we won't say their name. When it timed out, the controller was kind of acting up where you had to hit it like twice sometimes. Well, he hit the white, so the lifter timed out, and he hit the
And it got
white
a white
light.
light.
He or she, I don't want to give out too much information. Hit the white light, and I started laughing. I couldn't help it because as soon as he saw the light like pop up, oh sorry, so as soon as this person saw the light pop up on the screen, the look on their face was like, "Oh man, what I do?"
Yeah, face palm.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was pretty
All
funny.
right. Well, how about we wrap it up with the new lifter tip?
All right, sounds good.
So here we go. Don't put your gym bag right next to the warm-up platform. Put them around the perimeter so that everyone has room to safely move around the platform while warming up.
Yep, I think that's pretty straightforward, but everybody does it, especially at Raw Nationals this past year. Like everybody had their gym bag just sitting right next to the platform, and it just was a mess. Like you're tripping over it, loading the weights, you're tripping over it trying to spot. Just people trying to walk through the warm up room to get to the bathrooms are like tripping over bags. Like just keep them on the outside. Like you don't have to have all that stuff like right next to the rack. Like you can walk, 4 or 5 steps one direction to get to it.
Right.
So.
Or hey, put it under your chair. I mean, there's usually chairs on the perimeter. Put it under the chair.
Yeah. It's
warm-up rooms are always like just a cluster.
Yeah, and I think people just think like, well, it's not a big deal if I do it because it's just one bag. Well, everybody thinks that, and then you have like 20 bags all around everywhere because most people don't even just have one. They have their food bag, their gym bag, and their open drinks and everything gets spilled, and then the floor is slippery, and it's just it can be a mess. So just keep that stuff out of the way.
Yep, agree. All right, well, I think we said enough.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Talk to you next week.
All right. Good to see you. See you next week.
Good to see you too, Josh. Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.